Greetings, friend of karmic affinity. Have you ever wondered why illness always seems to strike so unexpectedly and suddenly? The profound truth that the Buddha constantly reminded us is that illness never arrives like an unannounced storm. It actually began long before visible symptoms appeared on your flesh. It started the very moment you lost the sacred connection with this physical form. There is a deep truth that the attention of consciousness always withdraws before illness moves in. When you are preoccupied with external worries and neglect the temple of your body, the life within gradually becomes arid and weary. Aches and frailty are, in fact, merely the final cries for help from a body that has been ignored for a long, long time. Today, I invite you to find the key with me to listen and reconcile with yourself, so that healing may begin even before the pain has a chance to speak. The core rule and recognizing early signals. Look back at how we live with this form every day. You will see that the body is inherently the most honest companion and never knows how to lie. The most subtle disturbances on the skin are actually the sacred efforts of protective wisdom, silently sending you the secret codes of life. Many of us often hastily dismiss the deep fatigue felt every afternoon for no clear reason, or ignore the heaviness in the chest when facing the pressure of worry. We also often consider waking up with a frail body, despite getting enough sleep, as merely a temporary nuisance of aging. But dear friend, please quiet your heart to understand that these are absolutely not expressions of weakness or decay. They are truly invaluable early warning signals. The body is whispering to you with all sincerity that the flow of life force is blocked and it needs you to return and care for it right now. Do not underestimate short breaths or fleeting headaches. In the Buddha's wisdom, the core rule of peace is the ability to recognize the smallest changes even before illness has clearly formed on the body. When you know how to cherish and listen to every heartbeat and every subtle contraction, you are giving yourself a chance to transform and rebalance the inherent order. Rather than waiting until the temple of the body must scream in intense pain before rushing to find a way to fix it. The principle of observation is prevention. Imagine the temple of your body like a solid architectural structure over time. Every great collapse actually starts from an incredibly small crack that the naked eye often neglects. If you see that crack the moment it appears and gently repair it, the house will stand firm and peaceful against every storm outside. In mindfulness practice, observing the body is not to add worry or fear. On the contrary, pure and still awareness is the most miraculous medicine for soothing the nervous system. When an area of pain or tension is seen by you with an eye of tolerance and appreciation, the body receives a safety signal that the mind has truly returned to support and protect it. In that moment, your form will no longer need to shout through severe illness to gain your attention. Just like a tree being watered in time, before the sapling has a chance to wither, or like an ancient musical instrument being skillfully retuned by a master artist as soon as the sound begins to drift off pitch. Mindful attention helps you maintain the symphony of health in its most harmonious and pristine state. As long as you dedicate moments of silence to truly be present and observe, you are silently extinguishing the seeds of chaos, helping the self-healing flow always circulate smoothly without needing any forced effort of a weary will. A harmonious relationship with the body temple. I invite you to completely change the way we usually perceive our most loyal companion throughout this human life, your physical form. Instead of living in constant fear of pathogens or the weakness of age, I invite you to truly learn to dwell fully within your body, to feel the flow of life silently pouring through every vessel and fiber. Understand the compassionate truth that the body never intends to betray or trouble you. It is actually a kind friend, silently whispering precious reminders through every fatigue or fleeting ache to help you return to balance. I once knew an elderly person who found miraculous serenity simply by learning to stop fighting minor pains. They began to practice resting earlier, as soon as they felt a bit of frailty in the afternoon, instead of straining to finish work as before. Consequently, persistent illnesses suddenly vanished miraculously without needing any medicine when you build a relationship of harmony and total trust with yourself. The body will no longer have to strain to resist, but will automatically adjust and find its way back to the most natural state of balance according to the sacred survival instinct. Treat this form with the gentleness and patience you would use to care for a soulmate. You will see that when love and understanding germinate, that is when true healing begins and radiates most brilliantly within your soul and body. The root of illness and the pace of the world. Look into the swirling flow of modern life where everything is urged toward maximum speed. We often unintentionally turn ourselves into shuttles spinning in the vortex of nameless worries and responsibilities, without realizing that such a rapid pace is directly disrupting the entire sacred order within this physical form. In Buddhist wisdom, body and mind are not two separate entities. They always reflect and rely on each other, every moment. And your breath is the most authentic biological clock, reflecting the deep rhythm of your soul. When your mind falls into a state of confusion or prolonged anxiety, the rhythm of your breath automatically becomes rapid and shallow. That very action causes the clock of life to fall completely out of sync with the peaceful flow of the vast universe. This lack of rhythm is the deep-seated seed of all disorder, because when the mind is no longer still, the body loses its ability to receive the natural healing flow already present in your every vessel. Understand the profound truth that the great human body possesses a miraculous self-balancing wisdom, but it can only operate most effectively when you allow yourself to slow down and return to the primordial rhythm of life. A harmonious and mindful lifestyle not only helps you preserve precious vitality, but is also the most sustainable way to protect your temple of body and mind against the harsh disturbances of the struggle for survival outside. When you know how to cherish every inhalation and exhalation to bring the mind back to dwell in the body, naturally all blockages will gradually settle, making way for radiant revival to begin from the very root of stillness. The tragedy of living in the mind and disconnecting from the body. The greatest tragedy of people in this era is that we spend too much time dwelling inside the noisy thoughts of the rational head, while completely forgetting to be fully present inside our physical form. Look back at your daily habits to see how alarmingly the consciousness has been severed from the body. We often eat and drink while our eyes are glued to phone screens and our minds are preoccupied with distant stories somewhere else, forcing the digestive system to work in solitude and total lack of appreciation. We maintain a shallow and rapid breath all day long, as if hurriedly fleeing from something, without realizing the tension silently freezing in every muscle and vessel. The knots in rigid shoulders, or the contraction in the abdomen, have become so familiar that you unintentionally consider them the only normal state of existence. Dear friend, your great body has always been patiently whispering to you through expressions of fatigue or gentle restlessness from the moment they first sprout. But because we have lost the ability for subtle perception, we have unintentionally ignored all those compassionate messages. Understand the painful truth that illness is never a random or sudden punishment. It is actually the final cry for help, and the most forceful language that the body is forced to use to wake you up after being neglected for a long time in the coldness of the soul. When whispers are ignored, this form has no choice but to scream through severe illness in the hope of receiving your return and care right now. The healing power of attention. Imagine your mindful attention like a warm and pristine ray of sunlight. Each time you shine that light on any area of the body, the blocks of tension and fatigue that have been accumulating for so long will begin to melt miraculously. In sacred Buddhist wisdom, attention is not merely an activity of the brain. It is the source of life energy actually present to support and protect this form. The moment you choose to stop looking outward and return to observe yourself, you are directly transmitting a code of peace that helps the entire biological system shift from a harsh defensive mode to the deepest recovery mode. When your presence truly encompasses every cell, the body receives a signal that the storm has passed, and it is a safe time to begin comprehensive overhaul work. You will notice your heart rate begin to slow down and become rhythmic, like a symphony of stillness. The brain will automatically stop producing the toxins of anxiety and instead increase the powerful surge of natural healing hormones that soothe every ache. Attention is the lighthouse guiding the ship of the body back to a peaceful harbor amidst the stormy ocean. As long as you dedicate precious moments to truly be present with your breath and feel every vibration on your skin, you have begun to unlock an invaluable treasure of vitality that has always been inside, but covered by the darkness of neglect for so long. 3 anchors of mindfulness every day. For these sacred philosophies to truly become the material that nourishes and transforms your life, I invite you to make a small but powerful covenant through 3 rituals of stillness, spanning from the radiant dawn until the dark of night. The first ritual begins every morning when you first open your eyes. Instead of rushing out of bed or letting your mind dive into information on your phone, I invite you to spend exactly 30 seconds performing a silent visit to your form. Gently guide your attention from your feet warming under the blanket, through the resting spine, to the crown of your head, and send a loving greeting to the entire body temple. Your true presence from this starting moment is how you transmit a signal of love that helps the body understand it is being fully protected and cherished. Next, as you enter the busy flow of the day amidst burdens and nameless responsibilities, I invite you to practice the habit of sacred pauses in the middle of the struggle for survival. Whenever you feel your breath starting to shorten or your mind being swept away by disturbances, stop completely and give yourself exactly 3 very deep, very slow, and very relieved breaths. Those 3 breaths are a safe harbor that helps your nervous system disconnect from stress immediately, while simultaneously preventing the seeds of silent inflammation and returning you to the inherent balance of the soul. Finally, when night has fallen and you are settled on the mattress, I invite you to perform the most profound practice, listening to your own fatigue before falling asleep. Instead of feeling annoyed or trying to chase away the frailty after a long day, gently observe what your body truly wants to tell you through that ache or heaviness. Embrace the fatigue, the way you would listen to a soulmate confiding after an arduous journey, and silently send gratitude to this form for persistently walking with you through another day of human experience. When you persistently nourish these 3 anchors of mindfulness every day, you will find the body temple is no longer a weary burden, but truly becomes a solid island of self, where the flow of recovery is always continued most radiantly and persistently from deep within. A new philosophy of life that does not wait for idleness. It is time for us to courageously step out of the old habit of living, where you only pay attention to yourself when pain has become intense and illness is clearly present on your flesh. I invite you to join me in creating a completely new philosophy of life, where healing is no longer an effort to fix damage after it occurs, but truly becomes a continuous journey of care and compassion from the calmest moments of life. Instead of viewing the body as a soulless machine needing periodic maintenance, start perceiving this form as a sacred entity constantly conversing and interacting with your own consciousness through every inhalation and exhalation. This is the great shift from the mindset of a soldier always ready to fight illness to the mindset of a soulmate who always knows how to listen to the deepest heartbeats of surging life. When you live in an unceasing dialogue with your body, you will realize that prevention is not an act of fear, but the highest expression of love and the most authentic self-respect. You do not need to wait until the ceramic vase of the soul cracks before rushing to find remedies for weary mending. Instead, learn to cherish and soothe it with mindful presence every current moment. True healing is when you stop considering the body as a strange object to be controlled or coordinated, and begin to see it as an inseparable part of the original pure nature within you. Only when you understand this profound truth can the flow of healing vitality pour out, most naturally and persistently, to help the temple of body and mind remain solid and radiant before all the changes of the misty time outside. The journey to find the sacred connection with this form is now gently closing like a sunset, yielding to the peaceful stillness of the soul. I hope you look at your body once more with all the reverence you would have standing before the most sacred temple in the world, because this is truly a living temple, where the great wisdom of life is constantly operating and sheltering you through every persistent breath and heartbeat every day. Never underestimate any sensation, no matter how small, present on your skin, for each restlessness or gentle fatigue is actually the most precious whisper of wisdom reminding you of the status of the life force flow within you. The deepest healing is absolutely not a miracle from afar. It lies right in your ability to dare to trust and dare to treat yourself gently in every current moment. If you feel the ray of light of understanding warming your heart and want to sow a seed of commitment into the deep layers of your subconscious at this moment, I invite you to perform a final ritual of confirmation by leaving a sincere comment. I listen to my body before it has to cry out for help. That one affirmation will be the solid anchor, helping your consciousness remain stable and reminding you to return to care for your temple of body and mind whenever the storms of life arrive. Your presence and mindfulness are invaluable sources of good energy, helping us together spread the light of compassion to all things around. If the silent space of daily Dharma Light truly brings you relief and helps you find balance, I am honored to invite you to continue accompanying us on this blessed path of awakening by subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Now all efforts have truly ended. I wish you health in body, peace in mind, and completeness in the absolute tolerance of your own soul. Peace in body and mind. Goodbye, and see you in the next healing journeys.